I had a breakthrough this morning and I was talking to my guides because I'm just like, how do I get out of this loop of feeling grippy about money? Okay, because when I look around at my life, when I look at my life experiences and stuff, when money comes in, it is a very easeful process for me. It just happens, right? It's like with this, like for example, when I'm like walking around this house and I'm reflecting on this house, it's like there was nothing that I did, like there was nothing that I was like, okay, like here's the strategy, like here's what we're doing to get this house, like I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and then like if it works, or if like life chooses me, I'll get the house. What happened was that a desire to move came up, and I just asked myself, okay, what's the next step to bring this to fruition? And at that time, like the next step was inquiring about this log home building company that's like local to us, that's near us, and going to talk to them and inquire about how their process works, how they're like what, just get the details on what that process would actually look like to buy our own land and build our own house, because that's what we initially were thinking of doing. And then as we kept taking steps, like things refined, things cleared out, like we got to the point where we were even talking to people to like finance our construction loans and stuff for the building. We already were like looking at different vacant plots of land, and we were like driving around and checking them out, and just like really fully in the process. Okay. And then once we got to the part where we were trying to get a loan financed so that we could like, and so instead of like, if you're buying a house, you just get like a regular mortgage. But then if you're building something, it's like a construction loan. And so the terms of that are different. And we just discovered that the amount of money that we would need as a down payment, so like upfront before we could even qualify for a loan, was like way higher, because we needed to we would need to buy the land in cash, so without a loan, with our own money, and we would also have to like get it excavated, so like the land prepped and dug out for building, for the foundation. We would also have to have like utilities installed, like water, electricity onto that land. And all of that would basically cost us so much upfront, and then we could qualify for the building loan and move forward. And that was a moment where it's like we had made all of this progress, all this forward movement in the direction of living in a new house, having a new house. And this was like the first like actual roadblock. It's like we took as many actions as we could and got as far as we actually could based on what we had. And this was like the actual roadblock, or I actually, it feels like a delay, because Garrett and I still hold that dream of building our own log home and like designing it from scratch, and just be like buying the land. Like that's still a dream, but going through this process, it's like, first of all, we learned what we need, like what it even looks like, so that now once the resources are there, we can just freaking go ahead and do it. But secondly, it just like got us to a point of clarity that we didn't have before. And we're like, okay, so we can't build right now. Maybe we could rent. Okay, because at that time too, this was a few months ago, last year, and the narrative, like the mainstream narrative around, was that, probably still is. Yeah, you guys probably have heard about it, but like it's like people in mine, Garrett's age group, like we're never going to be able to afford a house because the economy and inflation and rent and prices of property, whatever, all of this stuff, like the economy's like people our age are just never going to be able to afford a house. And so we almost fell for that, and we were like, okay, let's look at rentals then, because we almost fell for that and internalized that external narrative and belief, and we almost we're like, okay, let's just go for rentals and look for rentals. But then Garrett, I think, was like, okay, let's just see though if there's anything, like we don't live in like a metropolitan area, like we're not in the city, so perhaps like around here that we should just see if there's anything around that we can potentially buy or what that would look like. And so then we did, and we started looking at houses to buy, and just again following it step by step, not overcomplicating it, not being like, okay, I'm going to like go on realtor.ca today and I'm going to find 20 houses and I'm going to reach out to 10 real estate agents and I'm going to do like 3 bookings next. It's like, it wasn't like that. That was not the process that this house came to be in. The process was very much, what's the next step? And then with the house too, like if anyone has bought property, there's also delays outside of your control. Like once we even found this house, we did a viewing. I loved it immediately. And I also had an intuitive knowing like this was the one. And that was, I think, late January. But it took us all the way until March to be able to put an offer on the house because our income situation is unique, Garrett and I's. And so it just took like an extra bit of time to get our mortgage approved. And so in those moments too, I reflect back and I'm like, I still never did in that period where I was like, we were waiting for the mortgage, whatever. It's like I wasn't like, okay, how do I make this go faster? How do I make this work? How can I get this done? I wasn't like plotting and scheming and planning and trying to figure out like, how can I force this process or how can I get this house? It was just like, it's like we took action when we needed to take action. So we like prepped the documents, like we, hired a real estate agent, like we submitted an offer. We did all the paperwork that we needed to do to qualify for the mortgage. And all of those steps, it was like when it was time for us to take an action, it was very obvious. And then we did it. And then we waited until the next action became obvious to do. And I was just thinking about that because this morning and yesterday, I was just talking with my guides about, because I really do, in the same way that I had a really strong desire to live in our own home, because we were renting from Garrett's parents, but live in our own home and have our own space. And that was a very true, potent, strong desire within me. In the same way, like this $100 million year goal, it feels like a strong desire. I think the numbers I don't really care that much about. That's kind of like a placeholder. Like the number 100 million is basically just a symbol for this version of reality where I feel like I can access the experiences that I want to access. So if I want to, just like go to Europe like very spontaneously next week, like that I can just go ahead and do that if that felt aligned in that moment. Like I would have the resources to do that. Same with like if I wanted to help my parents out financially or something, I could just go ahead and do that. So again, it's like I don't need $100 million to do those things, but the $100 million a year, it's kind of like a symbolic placeholder that's also in a dual way being used so that I can like talk about this process, and it makes like for a good social media hook as well. But so anyway, so what I'm really looking for, what the desire really is at the core, is just this experience of reality that is very like, it's like I'm not being held I'm not being held back by reasons. It's like anything that I want to do, I can do it. Or it's like, if I can't do it, it's like, I can't do it because of timing or something else, but like resources and money is not the reason why I can't do something. And it just feels so like spacious for me to be in that, imagine that version of my reality, because it's like not only could I then resource myself in all of the ways that I desire to, but then I can also resource others in all the ways that I want to as well. And I just feel like that desire is true within me to achieve this. And so I was talking to my guides and I was like, hey, what do I need to do? Like, what do I need to, what do I need to do to get this to happen? And they were just like, stop. Like the first thing that came through was like, stop over planning your like work, like stop being like, I'm going to do like 2 videos on this day and blah, blah, blah. Like stop doing that. Like stop creating like a plan and like a strategy and stuff and like trying to force yourself to fit into it. And I was like, oh, no, but like if I stop doing that, like if I stop strategizing and creating these plans, then I'm never going to do it. Like for example, I was thinking in the context of this Liberated launch, right? So there's a program that I am running. The first call is going to be next Wednesday, and the Telegram group actually opens tomorrow. And so I had I've been following this 2-week strategy for Liberated to launch it. And the results are not what I mean, things can change, right? But the results as of this moment are not what I was envisioning or what I desired. And so what I was thinking about in that context to this conversation of okay, what do I need to do to get these results in? What do I need to do? And then the guides being you need to stop over strategizing or over planning. You need to just do what you want to do. Create the videos in the ways that you want to create them. Create the types of videos that you want to create. Be more fluid and free flow with the types of content, instead of being I'm going to post 2 talking videos a day, and I'm going to post this in every, I'm going to post 2 talking videos a day and a vlog every day. Instead of doing that and pre-setting that for a 2-week period, allow yourself to have the space. What if instead of a talking video on a day, just a text video or something would have been better? Or what if you had created space in that day and you weren't pressuring yourself to film a specific video in a way that you thought you had to film it, or you had preordained yourself to have to film it? What if in the process of doing that and feeling all that tension and pressure, you missed a version of your reality where that there was space and there was no pressure, and so a really aligned video type came through that wasn't a talking reel, and you posted it, and that actually performed way better than anything else that you could have done, and it's just about their thing to me was it's fine if you need some sort of baseline structure, but allow that to change. Right now, what's really lighting me up is posting a YouTube video every day. And that actually feels very aligned and fun. And every day I'm just excited to do it. But there might be a point where that no longer feels aligned, that no longer feels fun. And so if I start forcing myself, I'm oh no, but that past version of me was really excited to do the YouTube videos. So now I have to keep forcing myself to do a daily YouTube video. That is when the problem emerges. And just bringing it back to the house situation, right? It's again, just a reminder, in order to materialize this beautiful dream home that I honestly was so shocked that it took a really long time for it to land for me that this was my house and that this was reality. I was what? How? So in the same way, it's that process was just, what's the next step? What's the next step? What's the next step? Take the next step. And then when you have to wait, just wait. And then it becomes obvious when the next step emerges. And it's like, I'm not like, over strategizing or over planning. I'm like, I was saying, like, I'm not like looking at 20 listings a day and like forcing myself to look at 20 listings a day and blah, 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 blah. I just never did that. So same with this, like, money goals and lifestyle, like, money goals. In the same way, I shouldn't, not that I shouldn't, but it's like, it doesn't make sense for me and it doesn't feel right for my energy, and clearly the results are not resulting. And so I need to do something different. And so they were like, stop strategizing, stop doing things that you don't want to do when it comes to work. And my first reaction was like, no, but this is the real breakthrough, by the way. My first reaction was like, no, but like, if I don't plan it in, I'm never going to do it. And it was like, I just like felt my guides laugh at me. And they were like, duh. I was like, what do you mean? If I don't do this, if I don't make these specific reels and these specific days, and if I don't follow this launch strategy, and if I don't do this thing, then then like nothing's gonna happen. I'm not gonna get the results. And they're like, have you been getting, even by you following your strategy or whatever to a T, have you been getting results that you want? And I'm like, no. And they're like, so what have you got to lose? And I'm like, no, but what if I don't do anything? Like, what if I just like don't want to do anything? And what if I don't want to launch anything? And they're just like laughing again. They're like, yeah, maybe that's the aligned pathway for you. Maybe you don't want to do it for a reason. Maybe because you need to not focus so much on this path because there's something else that you need to hold space for so that it can like drop in, And it's like, the more that I force myself to do things in certain ways, or have strategies that are based on like other people's ways of doing things or what I've seen work for other people. I just made a video about this, by the way, like 2 days ago on my YouTube called what the hecky, you don't have to do it or something, or it's like something about unlimited life force energy, and then in brackets, inner shoulds versus outer shoulds. I just went into depth about this. And in the same way, it's like it's like the more that I try to apply someone else's structure, an outer should, onto my process, the more that I restrict my own flow. But it was just so funny because I was laughing too at that point in that conversation with the guides, because I was like, but I'm not gonna, if I don't plan it to do it, if I don't force myself to do it, I'm not gonna do it. And they're like, yeah, that's the fucking point. Don't do it. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. And the other piece around this too is like, the other, not qualm, but like the argument or something that I brought forth is like, yeah, but what if I need to do it? Like, what if I need to do it? Like, what if something I'm like planning to do something that I don't feel like really doing, but I need to do it because it's like important for my survival or something like that. Like, I'm just thinking about chores or something, right? And for example, I'm doing the dishes. Like, when I do the dishes at night and I clean up the kitchen and it's a reset for the next morning, I have like a very much better day the following day. Like, if I wake up and the kitchen's still dirty from the previous day, I just feel like it just does not feel like a new day, and it really affects my energy and like my sense of fulfillment and happiness. And so even though doing the dishes is a chore, and in the moment I'm often like, fuck, I don't want to do this, but there's still like, for things that you don't necessarily want to do, but you still know you need to do it, or you're meant to do it, it feels different in your body. Like, my mind is like, oh, I don't want to do the dishes, but then like my body or my heart is like, no, I do want to do the dishes. I do want to do the dishes because I love waking up to a clean kitchen in the morning. And so in the same way, it's like me recording, like forcing myself to record specific types of videos. It's like, I don't want to do that. But then there's no like inner thing like, oh no, but you're meant to do this. With the YouTube video, conversely, today, I really maybe it's like hard for me to still like, I have to like get ready, and maybe there's some resistance in like getting myself to the point where I'm in front of the camera. Maybe there's like parts of my mind like, do I really want to do this? But in my heart, it feels so right, and like I'm meant to make a YouTube video today, and so that's a difference too between like how I should operate in my life. It's like from this inner should rather than from this like mental should. But I just wanted to put that out there because I'm just like, that conversation this morning with the guides, it basically just made me feel like a lot more like, okay, maybe I'm not meant. Even with the launch, right? It's just like fully surrendering. It's like the launching Liberated was from inner guidance. Like, I launching this group program was not from looking at others and being like, oh, I need to like launch a group program to make money. Like, launching a group program, that desire came from within me. It wasn't, sure, the money part, obviously, like, it's a great way, if people buy the program and stuff, it's a fun way for me to make money, and that's part of it. But what I mean is that I launched the group program not just from an outer should, not just from like seeing other people do it and being like, oh no, I need to do that, I should do that too. It came from inspiration, and like the energy of it is just so different. Okay, and then so that part is aligned for me to like have launched this course, and even like doing the launch strategy and stuff to like plan it out and try it out, because I think this 2-week trial period really taught me this lesson that I'm sharing with you now in this. Like, it was just this 2-week launch period needed to really show me that me over strategizing and over planning and then like forcing myself to do a process in a certain way, like launch in a certain way, rather than just like trusting my creative flow and trusting the in the moment spontaneous videos that come up to be shared from within me, the unplanned ones, trusting that the timing of those videos and those inspirations is perfect, and that trusting in the days when I don't feel like posting anything and just want to rest. Like, that is how I am meant to operate, or at least in this moment it seems that way. And that over strategizing is like, I can fully cut the cords now with that, because I had this like 2-week period of launching Liberated where I really like gave it my all. I was like, I'm going to try this way of doing things because I think this is how I should be doing things. I gave it my all. I did the thing, and it didn't give me the results that I wanted. And so now I feel so free to try the other way that I secretly always wanted to try, but I was too scared to try because I was like, no, but what if the other way is the only way it works? So now I've shown myself that the other way for me doesn't work. So now I feel like I feel so free to just do it how I've always wanted to do it, which is very next step by next step by next step, free flow by free flow, like trusting in the timing, trusting in, just trusting in the way that my inspiration and my true desires flow in the moment to moment to moment, and like trusting in that clarity that I always have about what the next step is, and just following the next step until I can't follow it anymore, and then letting myself wait, and then, just etc. In the same way that I manifested this house, like I'm going to apply that now to this money goal. So that's it for this episode. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. If you are interested in Liberated, the doors will close on Tuesday, September 16th, and the Telegram group opens tomorrow on Sunday, September 14th. And I'm still running it, despite not having the results that I wanted. But I'm still running it because it feels like an aligned thing for me to run. And if I have to like alter a few things because some of the ways that I had written out the course, it involved like shares and stuff from other people. And if there's not enough people to like really fill those sharing spaces, I can alter the curriculum and, you know, just deliver it for how it actually is. And yeah, like, and it's just like very freeing as well to be like, oh, I still have choice. I still have freedom. I can still do things how I want to do them. Just, yeah, you know, it's just, I feel clear. I feel clear right now. So thank you so much. Yeah, the links are all in the show notes, I think is what you say when you're doing a podcast. Description, show notes. And I'll talk to you soon. Mwah.